terms of how IT companies function, I know that when a developer is joining, the skill sets are very, very technical, and then they move on to a managerial level. And what I have seen that you have done something radical in this industry, because tech people, they are comfortable only talking to computers. That's what everyone says. They're not very good when you upskill them. They are not great managers, or they don't end up being great leaders. It's literally like finding a needle in a haystack.
Right.
So the fact that you have worked, you have mentored, you have groomed, you have groomed people at all levels, right from the students who join in as freshers to the mid-managerial level and to the senior managerial level, is commendable. And hence, the first question coming with this background,
right.
that you have navigated from literally, the big tech giants, the big four of the tech companies. So how have you seen, the skill sets of this scale of industries change? Like, what do big enterprises need versus what do SMEs and AI-driven SMEs need? I think that will be a very interesting point of discussion. How have you seen the skill sets move, and what do you do to hire people in an AI-driven SME? Is it aligned to the bigger organizations, or is it quite different? I mean, help us understand that.
So I think coming back to the question is great, by the way, and glad that I somehow have the background of both. So what happens with large enterprise? I'll start. It's a short answer, but I'll go to the AI because that is the most important thing, because this is going to be the world in next decade or so. So what happens with large enterprises, that they have a large scale projects already acquired by customers, right? And they need a workforce or certain technical skills to run that project. Primarily, it is a maintenance of applications, maintenance of infrastructure, and some enhancements here and there, right? So in terms of necessarily learning, or if a person joins an enterprise and if he decides to learn continuously for 5 years and he or she sticks to one project in a large enterprise, the chances of learning is very, very slow. Okay, because the person will be accounted for maintaining things day by day in the same fashion for almost, for a long period of time, until unless he or she says that, hey, you know what, I'm going to become a technical leader. So I need to know more problems, how to solve more problems and stuff like that. So maintenance demands a sharp mindset of how to solve problems rather than create anything new, right? Until unless it's a development project, which is also could be a large scale project, but you become a part of a small team within that whole ecosystem, and you just constrained to do that, right? Let's say you're developing a Python code and you just know this bit of it, right? The entire puzzle, only one piece of it. That happens with enterprise. I have seen it, and somewhere I felt that I think I can lead the team because I want to know more and more, right? And then that's motivated me to lead the team. And now I was supporting 5 applications. Now I'm supporting 150. So I need to know more, correct? And that's motivated me to become a leader and stuff like that. So that's one path to go. However, what I have seen with SMEs, the true agile word comes like 50 times a day. Things can change so rapidly. And trust me on it, and I'll tell you why. See, the SMEs are end of the day catering to the customer, right? What customer wants, correct? And they see so many things, like we are SpeedTech.ai trying to onboard around 1,000 customers, right? And mind you, 1,000 customers will have at least 20 to 25 different traits as to what they want, correct? And we need to cater to that. We need to somehow not customize also, but at the same time cater to those needs, right? So today, I want my developer to be multifaceted. He or she needs to be able to integrate with Google AI, Gemini. He should be able to integrate with, let's say, OpenAI, and should be able to integrate with Azure AI. All of it, right? And he or she needs to know that. The only way he can do it is swim in the water, right? So he needs to know all these things. Now in a large enterprise, you just stick to one cloud. You might not have visibility itself to multiple things, right? So SMEs have the biggest challenge of multi-technology, things changing rapidly almost every month. I mean, we have a monthly go live, and every month a great feature gets enhanced. So there is a rapid development. Agile, sticking to the exact word, to be frank. So the skill set that is required the person has to be very, very ready and adaptive to the change, okay? Need to learn fast, okay? So I would call a person a street smart person, right? The person doesn't have to go to the core of the technology, but has to understand enough to be able to implement it, to be able to cite the problem and fix it and stuff like that. It's a no-code, low-code world. So actually it doesn't have to be brilliant in coding, to be frank, okay? But the person has to be enough has to have enough knowledge to know what is what I need to do to be able to quickly adapt to things. For example, we are into voice AI. We deal with almost 5-6 vendors across the globe. Tata Telecommunications, ClearTouch, and Plivos of the world, and Twilio. So I need to be able to integrate with all of this to be able to initiate a call, correct? All these things are technically different integrations, right? So my team is, I say, jack of all fruits. They know everything. They know at least 5-6 of them. So if tomorrow, if they decide to go into an enterprise, they can actually land directly an architect role because they know so many things. So my submission is that for the amount of exposure and the amount of technical abilities that you develop in a small enterprise is enormous. Enormous. Because you get a lot of exposure to the entire thing end to end. First, you are agile. You are actually learning very, very fast, right? So I look for a highly motivated people for a small enterprise. For a large enterprise, it could be a slow burn also. I mean, I can get a electrical background person, coach them for 6 months in computers, give them some Java to learn, Python to learn, and stuff like that. Or I can put them into a testing project, and from there they can learn, right? So there is a clear path. I mean, TCS and Wipros of the world, they hire IIT folks from civil, from mechanical, from production.
True.
Because these people are smart, right? And then they adopt them, and then they train them, they coach them on technology or IT and stuff like that. So it's a slow burn, slow learning process. It serves the purpose because customer is not in a hurry. They have to just maintain the applications and stuff like that. And whenever a development project comes along, then they are part of a large team, correct? In a small enterprise, it's the person has to be really, really street smart and learn very, very fast. The person has to be self-motivated. Okay, there is a very little, I would say, hands-on training. The person.
So if I may stop you here, I mean, in fact, I just wanted to, share a small snippet of my experience.
Sure.
And it is a little bit controversial. I hired from IITs and I failed. And I think this is the first time I'm making this submission, that I was working for a very large organization, but in a very agile setup. And agile means that every person who came on board had to be trained on the agile methodology or the mindset. If somebody does not have that mindset, it doesn't matter which discipline that person is coming from. And I went to IITs, I went to all the top 4 IITs, went to their campuses, hired the sharpest of minds, and all of them, you will not believe, left almost, I think, out of 10 people that we hired, only 2 people stayed. The remaining 8 left due to poor performance because they were a slow burn and a slow learn and a slow impact. Even though they were from the IITs, we couldn't take them forward. And given that we tried the same strategy that TCS, Cognizant, and many other organizations, large corporates are doing, it doesn't work in SME setup. One has to be super fast paced.
I agree. And I think, look at the transformation scale, right? In India, for example, I mean, if I take fintech, can you actually believe that from the demonetization till COVID, in that short span, right, within 2 to 3 years, we completely become digital. I hardly carry cash. So imagine the transformation, imagine the application coming in and implementation at this scale requires so much agility, right? You need so many devices to work. You want that integration to be done with the banks and so on and so forth. So technology and the demand is changing rapidly, enormously. I mean, you look at the smartphone and the apps, right? Every day there are thousands of apps getting developed, So speed has to be there. I mean, earlier I used to think that, it's okay to learn technology in a slow. Not anymore. Just go to the grid, maybe take a help of Coursera or take help of YouTube videos and all. Understand the concepts and get yourself in the water. That is all. I mean, just imagine 24 years of experience. Before joining an AI firm, I did a 189 days of a marathon course of learning entire bit of AI, LLMs, RAG systems, whatnot. I mean, so because I know if I don't know the concepts, I will be killed here, for the lack of better word. So there is no compromise. There is no second thought of not learning. You have to learn every day. Period. No matter whether you're in HR, you're in technology, you're in management, you're in leadership, actually doesn't matter, right? End of the day, the customers also expect you to be on your toes.
What you need versus what is available in the talent market, there is a huge gap. And for executive search teams to go around looking for that it candidate becomes a very, very difficult thing. Hence, writing a realistic JD also for any HR teams or for any business teams is very important, where there has to be a good balance between the real-time talent available versus the future needs of an organization. And that brings me to my next question. In fact, when you talked about Agile, and I have trained Agile teams on Agile methodology myself, being an HR person, I have trained teams on design thinking, on Agile methodologies, Scrum methodologies. So I know what a tedious task it is. Coming from an SME AI environment, how do you ensure that everybody is aligned to that Agile methodology? That's the first question. And the second question is that no matter who you hire in the company, today, even finding the life stories, I totally second with you when you said, I'm interested about knowing those challenges, because when I take an interview, all I want to know about their personal life. I'm not interested about their technical skills, because I know in that conversation, I will know something about that person, which is written nowhere in this JD, CV, anywhere else, even in social media. So that becomes a key factor in hiring sometimes. So when you are hiring such a person, there will always be a skill gap in an organization. How, as an organization, do you fill that skill gap? So one is about the Agile methodology. How do you ensure that everybody is aligned to Agile? And secondly, how do you fulfill the skill gaps in SME, AI-based SME organization?
Yeah, so I think in case of AI, particularly from a technical aspect, it has become slightly easy because the whole environment is low code, no code. Okay, believe me, lots of components are available. You just have to get them and declare them in the code. All the functionality of that utility comes along, right? So it's that easy. And there are a lot of self-help methods also. YouTube, there are a lot of videos. If you ask a question to some technical communities and all. So my idea is to create an environment for the technical team to get the right support, okay? To reduce the time of self-learning, actually, okay? Sometimes it is literally give them directly the solution itself sometimes, okay? And Agile makes it easy, because what Agile does is, and I think one of the key aspects of Agile is the creating the backlog. Backlog is nothing but if I have a 50 pieces puzzle, I'm going to break that 50 into 10 per week, and that 10 will be written as a statement saying that, okay, look, I need to do these things. And as an Agile coach, I would have already figured out that can I actually deliver this 10 in a given week or not, right? Given week or fortnight, let's say. If I have done that,
it becomes part of the product roadmap as well.
Exactly. So if I have done fairly good job in sort of putting enough cushion and all that in terms of timeline and effort, if I have figured out that in a fortnight I can deliver this, then I can actually take a person who is fresh out of the college, okay, and tell him that, look, you need to do this, okay, this is how it would basically be the outcome of it, and these are all the steps to follow. I will assign one person to you who is slightly senior, but I'm going to give you a lot of guidance as to go to YouTube, look at this thing, go to this place and look at this thing, and sometimes there is a code snippet available also, okay, for certain regular things. Like an integration is a very simple API integration. There is a lot of code available, right? So it's a matter of just knowing which pieces to put together to solve the puzzle, correct? And that's about it. So it has actually become easy to technically mentor or coach anybody. Number one, if at all I have, so my skill gap is person is not willing to learn. That is my biggest skill gap. I think you spot it pretty early. A person is let's say giving lame reasons for not able to do it in some time, or not strict in terms of discipline and time, etc. So you cite this very basic regular soft skills issues, and you say, okay, you know what? I think it's not worth spending more time on this person, and then move on and stuff like that. However, I have a strong opinion that the A team doesn't fly from the sky. You have to literally create the A team. And I tell this to my customers also, that you are expecting in a contract an A team. Believe me, you and me are going to create that. Okay? We are going to have.
It doesn't come from natural hiring. No matter how experienced you are, you have to train.
Exactly. You gave an example of IIT. These guys have slogged their life out of it, right? Just to get into JEE, you know how much struggle it is. But did they perform? No, because there is some certain I would say, a gap of expectation and understanding, correct? So end of the day, if you create an ecosystem of exactly putting down what you want, break it into small pieces, and those pieces move much faster than a big puzzle, right? Do not give them the entire puzzle and say, hey, solve it. No, break that into nice pieces. So I would say in a technology environment, having a good agile coaches are much more important, valuable than actually the staff itself, right? So get that nice a layer of agile coaches. Okay, feed them the whole backlog and all these things. They will convert it into small pieces and then get the work done. I mean, I'm telling you, we have such a great discipline in SpitTech.ai that every 7th of every month we go live.
Wow.
7th of every month, what the pieces are going to go are already declared to the sales. I mean, entire organization, including the founder, sales team, and everybody, in the first week of the starting month. So let's say, okay, today is 6th, right? Tomorrow there will be a implementation. I will talk about 8. From 8, 7 days later, it is declared already in an Excel sheet. These are all the features going to come. 15, they do a final verification. Am I ready? Are we going to discount anything or going to go with it? It is signed and dusted, and then next 2 weeks they just take time and do implement. It is done so nicely that we have a layer which figures out how to break this into pieces. Okay, so my idea is a simple coding. Okay, that's called simple coding. Okay, basically break this into such a small piece that very small mistakes would happen. It will be delivered fast. It will be tested fast, and we quickly move on and put those pieces together. That's why I actually like SaaS environment. SaaS environments gives you a bunch of products which are great in their own capability, and you need to put them together to solve your basic business problem, right? That's why I actually do not like ERPs anymore. I do not like, and I have nothing against Oracles or SAPs of the world, but they have created a huge smartphones where customers do not even use half of the feature. So why to spend time on the smartphone where I need only 5 features, right? Either I will use 5 SaaS and I'm done, right? So, and I think slowly that thing is breaking away. There are a lot of SaaS applications coming up, and good SaaS applications, right? They're serving their purposes properly. So I tend to tell my team to go with that kind of a model. If you have something somewhere available, I will license it, just get it and plug it and get going. Do not worry about creating something on your own. We have a great stories in India of an aggregator layer. I can give you 100 examples of aggregator. Zomato's, Swiggy's, right? Amazon's. Fantastic aggregator. Are they original businesses? No, but they are an aggregator. Why? Because they have an ability to plug in things and make a business out of it, right?
Right.
It's all AI is an aggregator ecosystem, by the way.
Absolutely.
Okay, what is originally the LLM? Somebody is making that LLM. Fine, but after that it's an aggregator. It's just a functionality and features, right? So we are an aggregator also. Aggregator is an easy thing to do, if you ask me. It's an easy thing to build, it's easy thing to break. And without wasting too much of time also, you can move faster. You fail fast, get it done faster, and then implement every 7th of every month, like I said. So, I answer to your question, my skill gap is an ability for the person to be disciplined and to be ready to learn every day. If I see that missing, we spot it pretty quickly. That, in 2-3 times you follow up, things don't get delivered, you say that's about it, and nobody likes hire and fire culture, by the way. In India, it is not accepted also very well. But then I will put them into something else. I'll ask them to do content creation. I'll say, you know what, I don't want to waste a talent. To do content creation, right? There's a lot of digital content I need, and so on and so forth. Sometimes people are happy to do reels. Okay, that's also a job. No problem. So I'll do that. So things like that. So we basically move people around and make sure that we get the sort of fit for the purpose kind of a team, rather than, an expert in anything,
Lovely.
Wonderful.
With that, we come to an end of our podcast and recording. Once again, Milind, thank you so much for being here.